We're planning for winter in the NHS earlier than we've ever done before. That's why today I'm announcing £250 million to invest in more A&E capacity in 30 different sites across the country. Earlier this year, I announced our urgent and emergency care recovery plan. That's about more beds, more ambulances, fast discharge, all of which improves patient care. And although we've still got work to do, we're starting to see the results of that. Ambulance response times have come down considerably, A&E performance is improving, and today is another step on that journey to a better performing NHS delivering better care for people, particularly this winter.
And will it bring down waiting lists?
Well, this is about urgent and emergency care and making sure that this winter the NHS is well prepared and invested. Separately, we have a plan to bring down waiting lists. I'm pleased that we've practically eliminated the number of people waiting 2 years. Earlier this year, we practically eliminated the number of people waiting 1.5 years. And unfortunately, the progress that we were making has stalled because of the industrial action. That is unfortunate. The government accepted the recommendations of the independent bodies for around a 9% pay rise for junior doctors. And I'd like to see them accept that so they can get back and we can all get back to treating patients and getting those waiting lists down. But I also point out that the NHS across the UK is grappling with the aftermath of COVID. And in fact, waiting lists in Wales are far higher than they are in England. People are waiting far longer. That just demonstrates that this is a broad issue, but we're investing and making a difference.
Now, other questions. Average wages are rising fastest since records began. What does that mean for your target to halve inflation by the end of the year?
Well, inflation is my number one priority to bring down, and that's why I set it out in my 5 priorities as the first one. Why? Because it's inflation that's making people feel poorer. It's eating into the savings in their bank account, making sure there's less money that they have at the end of the month, and that's why we need to bring it down, and that's how we'll also bring down interest rates and ease the pressure on people's mortgages. Now, we are making progress. I'm not complacent, and we'll have more numbers this week which hopefully show continued downward movement on inflation, but we've got to stick to the plan. That means taking the right, responsible decisions for the economy, being responsible with borrowing, with public sector pay. And if we do that, we will bring inflation down, ease the burden on the cost of living for people. And I think people can trust me. They know that I know how to manage the economy. I will get inflation down for everyone, ease the burden on the cost of living. And in doing that, we will also be able to bring interest rates down over time too.
But will they now go up with the spiralling wage costs?
Look, well, interest rates obviously are a question for the Bank of England, but the best way to be able to bring interest rates down and stop them going up is to bring inflation down. That's why my first priority of my 5 priorities is to halve inflation. And we are making progress. The last set of numbers we had showed that inflation was falling faster than people expected. Now, we've got work to do. We'll get more numbers tomorrow. But it's important that we stick to the plan. The plan is working. I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if we get through this, people will really start to see the benefit in their bank accounts, in their pockets, as inflation starts to fall.
Just turning to the Bibby Stockholm barge, were you personally warned about potential health risks to migrants on board?
No, look, what's happened here is it's right that we go through all the checks and procedures to ensure the well-being and health of the people who are being housed on the barge. But taking a step back, what is this about? This is about fairness. It's about the unfairness, in fact, of British taxpayers forking out £5 or £6 million a day to house illegal migrants in hotels up and down the country with all the pressure that puts on local communities. We've got to find alternatives to that. That's what the barge is about. That's why we're committed to it. But more fundamentally, we've just got to stop people coming here in the first place illegally. That's why one of my 5 priorities is to stop the boats. We've passed tough new laws that when they come into force will enable us to do that. And we're already seeing numbers this year are lower than they've been in previous years. That's the first time that's happened. Look, I know there's a long way to go on this, but I am determined to fix this problem, and we are making progress, and people can be reassured that we will keep at it.
There's been a social media trend for young people gathering to allegedly steal from shops in London, in Oxford Street. Who's in charge of our teenagers nowadays? Is it parents, police, or should TikTok and other social media channels take a tougher role?
Yeah, look, this obviously happened while I was abroad. I've got to say it's appalling. I think criminal damage, criminal behaviour is unacceptable, and I fully support the police in bringing those people to justice. And I want anyone watching who's thinking about this, see something like this, to know that they will be met with the full force of the law, because that type of behaviour is simply unacceptable in our society.
And just finally, are you a Taylor Swift fan?
No, I've been very lucky to have a really nice holiday over the past week. I spent a lot of time with my kids. But look, I'm back at work focusing on the things that matter to people, and that's about ensuring that the NHS has the investment it needs now so that it can perform well in the winter and get the care we need. It's about ensuring that we can make progress on stopping the votes, and crucially, it's about halving inflation so that we can ease the burden on the cost of living. Those are the things I'm focused on.
Prime Minister, thank you.
Thanks very much.